Since April 2020, North Carolina has added 365,000 housing units, putting it among the top 5 states in the country. It means many of these counties in dark green are growing and thriving. But it also means infrastructure like roads, parks, and schools, even land and water are nearing a breaking point. Over the same period, the North Carolina Home Builders Association has spent more than $4 million on state lawmakers' campaign coffers, who in turn have filed hundreds of bills, many of which have become law. It's a massive industry and a massive story, so explaining this in a way everyone can grasp in a short news piece isn't easy. But there is a story virtually everyone knows and understands, even toddlers, that explains the importance of strong construction and reliable building codes. In just a few minutes, tonight on WBTV, the 3 little pigs move to North Carolina. No matter how many little pigs build a home in North Carolina, the big bad wolf keeps coming. Hugo, Florence, Fran, and Helene. Those major storms have huffed and puffed their way to more than $80 billion in damage and 140 deaths in North Carolina alone.
Do we not learn anything from that story that say, okay, now we can just kind of waive some of these building requirements for our structures? What's going on here? The word livid doesn't describe the comments I've had from some of the inspectors.
Richard Alsop is an architect with decades of experience in commercial and residential construction. He highlighted some of the legislation filed in the North Carolina General Assembly that's concerned him most, including a bill that would rewrite floodplain rules following Helene.
What they're allowing you to do now is to go back and rebuild in that area, that same area, under the former code.
Another bill passed into law makes it illegal to require sheathing inspections outside of a handful of coastal counties that have 140-mile-per-hour winds.
You're looking at a tremendous amount of information again.
Alsop says whether your home is made of straw, sticks, or bricks, sheathing is an integral safety component. It literally helps hold your home together and keep water and wind out.
You can have a 70-mile-an-hour sustained wind over a long period of time and actually did as much damage as a 140-mile-an-hour wind. The first piggy that's run to the second piggy, and they're sitting there thinking to themselves, I hope the fact that we passed this law to get rid of sheathing inspections is really going to have a benefit. Big Bad Wolf being the next hurricane.
Do you have any issues doing sheathing inspections?
No, I actually think it's important, and I do it as part of my framing inspection.
Holly Edwards is owner of Holton Construction and sits on the board of the Home Builders Association of Greater Charlotte. While homes are built at a breakneck pace, she says they're often unaffordable for the people making up the backbone of the community.
There's a lot of our workforce, our teachers, our policemen, our firemen, you know, they can't afford that type of house. They're priced out of that range. So we have to figure out a plan to address that.
But even in her position and profession, she's noticing problems with the language of some of the home builders legislation.
Because there was probably some overreach there, you know, that people just were not going to be okay with.
She's talking about House Bill 765, a priority for the North Carolina HBA.
Well, there was about 10 things that were eye-popping, so it wasn't just one thing.
And a real pain for Concord Mayor Bill Dush, an active member of the North Carolina League of Municipalities. The Save the American Dream Act would strip towns across the state of their ability to regulate many aspects of local development.
You can still put 5 houses per acre no matter what the residential zoning is, and so that's a non-starter for us also. It'd be first come, first served. So if an entity came in to us and said, we want to build 1,000 houses, they take all our sewer.
And the pigs didn't have places to go to school or to work, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
it's
that's exactly what it is here.
Mayor Dush isn't trying to stop little pigs from building homes in Concord. A hard hat, shovel, and pictures from groundbreakings adorn his office.
Well, you either grow or you die. There's no way to keep that perfect middle point. You've got to always be moving ahead some way.
Of course, that story tells us everything, you know. At the end of the day, we want that structure to stand for 50 years. The more due diligence a builder puts into their project, the property that you're building on, the better outcome.
I reached out to the NCHBA to ask for their response to this story. In an email statement, they wrote, quote, "Meaningful reform often invites debate, especially when challenging long-standing regulatory practices. The bills we support are not designed to undermine safety or local government. They are meant to promote a safe housing stock, address inefficiencies, increase housing supply, and ensure that North Carolinians can afford to live in the communities they serve. We remain open to constructive dialogue with stakeholders, but policymaking should be guided by data and statewide needs, not anecdotal objections or assumptions." More of their replies to our questions can be found on our website, WBTV.com. Reporting in the studio, David Hodges, WBTV, on your side.